That's right. Welcome everybody to our continuation of the Saw franchise, and we're actually getting to Saw 6. 4 more movies after this one. Four? It's four? Yes, four. Saw 6 take us to a different direction, so to speak, with the Saw franchise. We're going to talk about it. Along with some welcome returns. Stay with us. See what we got coming up with me. We'll be right back real quick. I'm looking forward to this one. I am a huge fan of this franchise as we go into the Halloween season. Saw 6 coming off of the last doubleheader we had with Saw 5 and Saw 4. And I'm joined by that same person that was with me last week. And Vic, what's going on, Vic?
Hello, fam. How you doing?
I'm sorry, I just saw something uploaded. I'm doing okay before I saw what uploaded. How are you doing tonight?
Chilling, man.
Good, good. Let's bring in the third Demon's Head. Mr. Ra's al Ghul himself, $7 production. What's going on?
Or am I more than a man? Now, it's good to be back. It's bad to be on this movie, but we'll get into that later. How are y'all doing?
Doing fine. Now, speaking of back, what we decided to bring back was a little old school here with the originals.
That's right.
With our segments where we talk about our best and worst scenes, where we talk about our quotables. And then, of course, we're going to end with the thumbs up, thumbs down. I feel like there was another part that we forgot. It was best and worst scenes. It was quotables.
Oh,
it was recasted.
Oh, wow. See,
we did not do recast. You want to do that? We're going to do recasting tonight? Let's do recasting tonight.
And here's the rules. If you didn't upload the pic, do not put it on the screen. Vic.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. You meant today? I didn't realize.
Well, somebody already uploaded his pick for recasting, so we might as well go ahead and do it today because I got it now, and I can't say I might disagree.
Right.
All
right.
Looking forward to this. This is going to be fun. This is going to be interesting. Back to it, back in action. But let's start with our best and worst scenes. Vic, we're going to start off with you.
Let's see, because I didn't have time to think about it, so I got to figure it out right now. Best scene. I gotta say the very end when the guy after jumping on through all those hoops got what was coming to him, and got all of that stuff right in his back, just like he deserved, because this was a great push for Obamacare, and the insurance companies are the worst, and that scene was just amazing. Because after all of those hoops that he jumped through, you felt like he was going to live. But no. Which was nice to see. So I'll go with that as best. Let's figure out worst. Well, the worst scene to me was when the bad guy ended up killing all the cops. I felt bad for the lady cop because she came back from another movie, and it was nice to see her again. How they survived, that she survived, and then like they had her witness protection and all of that. So that was interesting. But then I thought like it was going to be a twist where he ended up behind bars and probably had to escape out of jail, but he ended up just murking everybody. And it was interesting how he had the guy's hand in the trunk, so that then he could frame him again and then burn everybody up. Like that whole thing was just nuts to me. Like, but more than anything, this movie was a wild ride. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I was a little better prepared because usually we've just been off the fluff. But yeah, man, the movie, it was interesting. So now we'll figure out what I do with the quotables. But yeah, that's my best and worst so far.
Stevie Wonder just pointed at me, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the audio. So first, I'd just like to say Vic feels bad for the lady FBI profiler who came back from the other movie just to be killed in this one. He doesn't feel bad that I have to watch all these bum-ass Saw movies, but I'm going to put that to the side. I'm not going to hold anything against Vic.
Why would I feel bad?
If we were doing it the old way, I'd say first and foremost, I believe I can at least produce 3 Saw movies. This budget is the exact fare from getting you one side of New York to the other. Okay, they spared every expense, and it shows. It shows. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me. Okay. For you Mar-a-Lago folks, believe me. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3, it is not. Okay, Chris. Let me be the first to apologize to you. It does get worse. You are absolutely correct. Saw 3 looked like a Scorsese film compared to this one. Okay, it's terrible. My best scene, if we're going to give a best scene, here it is. Right at the end, after I've watched all of this trash movie filmed on somebody's iPhone 3G, and they give the hint that, oh, maybe they did a remix on the Jigsaw theme, and it's like, no, okay, no, and just as Vic is saying, and he's getting out the hand and everything, even though they've telegraphed everything through these, strobe-like visions that he has throughout the whole movie, and we keep seeing flashbacks from other movies that we've already seen. And I'm thinking, okay, they're finally going to play it, and then they don't play it. That was simultaneously my best and also worst scene, because there's a saying in a movie that if you actually play the theme song, like Mission Impossible, like when they did the first Mission Impossible, if they didn't do the theme, that means they're not confident about it. But in every single Mission Impossible movie, they've always done the original theme. In this one, they make you think they're going to do the theme, but even the producers know, no, we're not proud of this one. We just need money to make the next one. So we're just going to give you a taste. And that's what I got. I thought it was salt. I thought there was a little pepper, maybe some sazon, nothing. Adobo, there's nothing in it. It was water, maybe a hint of lemon, but in my eye, not on the food itself. And that was simultaneously my best and worst.
So my worst scene, I'll start off with my worst scene. My least favorite scene, I don't know, it wasn't a lot in this. The only thing I'll say, and this is not even really a scene, it's just overall what I dislike about Saw at times, is it's supposed to be a realistic movie. And
thank you.
Besides his unlimited budget of money to create these traps, it's amazing. I was thinking this in Saw 6, like, damn, Hoffman, you like, the fact you're able to kidnap all these people, around the same time, you're able to kidnap all these people and put them all in these elaborate traps, and they all are timed so well, is amazing. That just bothers me sometimes. But I'll tell you my favorite scene. There's 2 of them. One of which I'm surprised Vic didn't pick, and he kind of alluded to it. But, he didn't realize, oh, I got homework now. Because that's how we used to do it back in the UPRE days, and then, it kind of messed up. So now we just watch and say, hey, I like this. Thumbs up. But now we're going back to the originals. That's how we're going to keep it around. I think one of the reasons I really like this movie is because they included a lot more. Now, $7 down there say he didn't particularly care for it as much, but I like the flashbacks, right?
I did too. I like those movies.
Okay, and I like seeing Jigsaw, John, interact with the different people because I think he's a scene stealer. I mean, the movie's about him, but I think he's a scene stealer every scene he's in. His conversation he had with the insurance gentleman that he kidnapped later, I thought was very, very well done and very, very well played. I also liked when they had that little funhouse wheel with the 6 people and them being shot. One of them shots looked really real. That was disturbing. Yeah. And then 2, I liked the guy at the end who was trying to throw everybody under the bus to save himself, right? Where he was like, you look at me while you're killing me. I thought that was very, very, to a certain extent because of the type of movie it is, but I thought that was very deep. Like, you made this choice. You picked the 2, let's be real, they were women, right? You picked the 2 women, one of which, because she has a child, and I don't, and all this other stuff. But you picked the 2 women and you killed me. Even though I've been there trying to idolize you and all this stuff. I thought that was very powerful. Just like it was just as powerful when he couldn't even look at the black man. Now, look, that being said.
Shout out to Eddie Winslow.
Yeah, shout out to Eddie Winslow.
Sad about Eddie Winslow, man.
He wasn't sad because he just didn't look. He said, oh, I'm sorry, you ain't eat chocolate. But that's what it was. So, it is what it is. But that was best scene, worst scene. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Old school. We're really going old school today. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to do some quotables. And then some. Yeah, we're going to do some quotables. We'll be right back. You're watching an Unpopular Review.
This goes to show you the type of fan that is an AEW fan. These guys shelled out all their money to go to England, probably get a passport because, listen, most of them were probably living in the basements of their mother's house. And for the first time they said, "Oh, I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm gonna go across the pond," because they think that's cute. And so they said, "I'm gonna go and get my passport and go see Jungle Boy." And they did that, and they spent all their allowance and disability benefit. Let's be real. And they spent all their disability benefits to go across $2,000 for the ticket in the hotel to go to Grand Canyon. And guess what? Now all of AEW's audience is broke as fuck, and they can't show up to any of these United States TV shows. They spent all their mom's money, all their dad's money, all the disability benefit, and they can't go to any other shows. They're done for the rest of the year. So AEW, that's why the ratings went up. You know why? Because they can't go to the shows. They got to watch the show now. Guys, this is unpopular review. I'm not here to make friends, especially not AEW friends.
No, I haven't laughed that hard in a while, but thank you so much for that, Steven. That was Unpopular Review, Raw and SmackDown edition. Join us every Saturday for that when we talk about Raw and SmackDown for the week. Looking forward to that one. That was good. But we're back, Unpopular Reviews, and we're going to talk about some of our quotables for this movie. And Vic, I know you ain't do it, so it's $7. If we can start with you, I would appreciate it.
Sure thing, John. Listen. Oh, and Chris, by the way, you were absolutely correct on your best and worst, because the carousel scene, that little merry-go-round, that was a good bit. I did like that because I thought that was the most plausible gadget contraption out of the whole movie and arguably out of the series that I've seen. I haven't seen all of them all through, so to be fair on that. But I thought it was doable and reasonable and everything like that. I will say this, to piggyback something that Chris said as far as my quotables, when he has the flashback scene with William and this, the insurance adjuster or whatever he's called, and he's talking about Dr. Gordon. Dr. Gordon, you remember the OG Doc Gordon from the first one? And he says, no, Dr. Gordon is a specialist. He's making money on his speciality. He's not a thinker. I mean, the man has his hand on the doorknob half the time that I'm there. The first time he said that, I didn't really understand when he was like, the man has his hand on the doorknob. But then as I started to think about it, and I'm like, yeah, you go to the doctor, you're half dead yourself, and they come in there after making you wait 40 minutes in the big room and then another 30.
40 minutes is generous. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Depending on where you're going.
Yeah.
And then, you're waiting 30 minutes in the little room, and then they come in there and they're looking at you like you're a drug addict or something like that. And then they say, oh, what is it? And they touch you on your face and, they put a cold steel thing on your chest and your back. They say, breathe deep. And they say, all right, well, I can't tell anything on this, but you tell me if you're feeling better. You need a note. And that's it. So he's spot on. Jigsaw, the smartest man and arguably the greatest to play the Riddler there ever was. Move over Frank Gorshin, okay? Because even in this movie, he has Riddler boxes that he left with his dutiful wife, Cinemax, in Saw 6, okay? I felt like I was watching Cinemax in the 90s, and I was 14 years old. Even her lighting was a soft glow. Can I change my best scene? Whenever Jigsaw's wife was on the screen, and she was filmed in a soft, hazy glow, and she was speaking. Everybody else is speaking audibly, but she's speaking in a soft glow. I didn't know if I should grab the cocoa butter or the covers because I was so scared and yet so captivated by what was going on the screen. And so let me change that. I apologize earlier for my best and worst scene.
Vic, you got any or you want me to go?
Yeah, I got a few.
All right, go ahead.
The decisions you make will determine the fate of the people you love. John Kramer, let's see. The truth will set you free, but first it will make you suffer. That one I liked. And the last one. You think it's the living who will have the ultimate judgment over you because the dead will have no claim over your soul, but you may be mistaken. Like when that just came right back around and hit right at the end, I was like, wow, that was a hitter. This movie was a ride, man. It was a ride.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely like that. You think it's the living who have ultimate judgment over you, because the dead will have no claim over your soul, but you may be mistaken. I mean, like I said, it's the way he steals scenes. It's his delivery, which is very subtle, and it's very not I won't say slow paced, but it's soft. But it's also very demanding. Like, listen to what he's saying. It's chilly. This 52-year-old cancer patient, right? And I think we talked about that in another movie. I can't remember which one it was. But this 52-year-old cancer patient is like really creepy, and the way he says that. And I'll tell you another one that he said. It was right before it. Did you know that in the Far East, people pay their doctors when they're healthy? Yeah. When they're sick, they don't have to pay them. So basically, they end up paying for what they want, not what they don't want. We got to all ass backwards here. And I felt like that wasn't just for the Saw fans. That was just in general saying there's something wrong here about that. And when you think about it, that does not make sense. You know, you're paying more when you're sick than when you're healthy, but you're trying to be healthy. Doesn't make sense. But I just thought it was great foreshadowing what was to come. I thought Saw was very good. That's why I didn't particularly give her 5. Definitely didn't care for 5. Didn't particularly care for 4's twist, because Saul is good with the twist, and I thought this was the closest thing to a twist that they've had since. I think.
Can you tell me what happened on the Saw 4 twist? Because I've never seen that one.
Saw 4 twist was the fact that that's when they found out Hoffman was a part of it.
Okay.
Right. He stood up and stuff like that. And truth be told, I never was a huge fan of Hoffman. Watching these movies over again makes me appreciate him more, but he's still no Jigsaw to me. Yeah, he's homicidal. He's not, but he's just a homicidal maniac to me. He's not as cold and calculating as Jigsaw. Jigsaw was about the mind games, and that's what made people a fan of Saw. That's why they always have to go back to him in flashbacks. That's why they always have to have all these tapes that this man recorded. You know, this man has more tapes since his death than Tupac did, because they have to have him in the movie. It does not work without him, and they wanted to. Amanda, I thought, was a better rendition than Hoffman was. Hoffman was just.
I liked how they kept pointing out his mistakes. It wasn't.
Can we, Vic? Please talk about that, please.
Like especially with the whole blade, with the whole skin thing and the blade and all of that, and mind you, and him just like going back and forth and running around with the cops, just that whole thing in general. But that whole thing with the blade, I thought that was interesting, because it really just goes back and brings back all of the bodies and how precise he was and what he used and how much thought he gave things. And it pretty much shows how, like, look, nobody could replace Jigsaw. And that's pretty much what they were saying in that whole thing. And I just thought that was interesting, because this guy was just trying so hard to be just like this guy, but without ever actually going through any pain or going through the whole process of survival. Because, like, they were pretty much just promoting that whole thing, how it works and now I'm better and blah blah blah, when the whole like little crew was putting all this shit together. So I mean, I felt like it was interesting, because they pretty much try you could tell that it's a money grab, but they pretty much try every single time to put everything together. And in this one, I felt like they were telling 2 stories in one. So
it was nice to see Jill, or Skinamax as somebody calls her, go after Hoffman at the end. I think she's actually also better than I think she is. I think she's better to me than Hoffman. Hoffman is just but another thing that I didn't like about Saw 5, and I think I don't know if I gave a thumbs up or not last week, but their hero in the last movie was not really a hero. Erickson was not a hero to me. He was a dick. In this one, the hero was not really a hero to me. He was more likable, more relatable, but realistically, when you think about what he was doing, was dead ass wrong. I'm just sorry he couldn't save his sister. Well, his sister probably got away scot-free, So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this segment. We'll come back. We're going to talk about our recasted, and we're going to talk about our final thoughts. Go ahead.
Can I get 30 seconds on this?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I love doing this show because my co-host is spot on with it. Both Chris and Vic hit something on the head, and they said, okay, so this is a detective, and he's not, he's putting up all these traps like he's a mechanical genius. We know that Jigsaw was, John Kramer was, okay. Yet he doesn't know, as a detective, that different blades have different cut signatures on it. He doesn't know about fingerprints from the worst FBI agents on history. The 2 FBI agents who believed the whole time, because he's winking and nodding the whole time he's on film, Hoffman is, that he's guilty as hell. So they bring this sociopath to them and they kill this innocent woman. He doesn't know about voice modification software. He doesn't know anything, yet he's the big bad. This is why I have such a problem with him after Saw 3 and even with Saw 3, because 1 and 2 were so smart. Yes, it's contrived all the answer machine tapes that Jigsaw has left behind and everything, and he's thought of everything. Like, the man is genius, right? But at least in 1 and 2, it was all figured out and it made sense, and they didn't have to rely on these gimmicks. As it started to go on, even you had hints of this in Saw 3, it was gimmick territory and it lost all the intelligence of it. And what I love more than anything is an intelligent story and plot. That's all I wanted to say for this part.
Stay with us. We will be right back.
Since the beginning, you have watched others suffer. Now it is your turn to play. The last piece of the puzzle is you.
The final chapter, or as they build it, the final chapter is, we have 3 more movies after that.
Really?
Yeah, we do. We have Jigsaw, which was a prequel, really. No, it wasn't a prequel. No, it wasn't actually a prequel. And then you have Spiral, and then you have Saw 10, which comes out Friday. But now we're into recasting, and Vic, I assume you don't have any recasting, which is fine. But 7 Bus Production, do you want me to go first while you get yourself together?
Yeah, you can. I'm looking up one last one.
I can tell. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's see if I have him here. Okay. There's only one person I wanted to recast, and that was the kid, the murderer from Saw 6. The real murderer from Saw 6, and that was this. Despite the fact that he killed every scene he was in, what I mean not in a good way, because he annoyed the hell out of me. He was the one that actually pulled the trigger. Actually, his mom should be considered a killer too. She was an accessory because she's like, I can't do it. He said, I can, and then proceeds to tell him a monologue of why he's going to do it, while she just sits there in terror. But I was like, hey, he looks familiar. This is definitely old school because I remember saying that every time it begins. There he goes, right there. If you look very closely, you can see a resemblance. It's the same kid, but it's not. That's my recasting.
Only the one.
From like one of those prison shows. That.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Swear to me.
Who?
Look at the picture again, Vic.
Swear to me.
He did that movie right before he did Batman Begins.
Oh shit! Wow, Diablo.
That's the Machinist, Christian Bale, when he was in the Machinist.
Diablo. Shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
They actually have a Saw escape room in Las Vegas, and when I go there, I'm actually supposed to go there Super Bowl weekend. When I go there, I'm going to go to that escape room. I'm really curious to see it.
Nice.
I got to know if they're going to bring the tape recorders and everything like that. All right. I'm going to start with, in any order, nothing particular. Now, I've already shown you before. Let's start with my man, Detective Hoffman. Let me see if I can find him. Where is he at? Wink and nod himself. There we go. Wink and nod. The man who he should be called Detective Telegraph because he telegraphs every single. How people don't know that he's the killer, I don't know. But I'm going to recast him with my man, Snidely Whiplash, because he's twirling his mustache in every scene. He's chewing up the scenery, and clearly he's the heel. He's the villain.
You love that guy.
I do. But there's one person I love more than anybody, my recasting, And I spared you today, Chris. I spared you today. I listened. I spared you today. Can we talk about used to be my second favorite character, but then they killed her character too? In Saw 1 and 2, she was good. In Saw 2, she was calculated. Now she's back on the dope.
Oh.
Her actions are, I don't want to say it, but dopey. They're addict-wise. In 1 and 2, she was not like this. What happened to her? Who am I talking about? I'm talking about wigged up Amanda. When I saw her in that scene, her hair was at least 7-8 inches tall. And I said, who does she remind me of? Oh, yeah, it's Marge Simpson. I said, and this movie was so ridiculous because they did a flashback to Saw 3 where he told Hoffman, Amanda, I want you to kill the wife. The whole plot of Saw 3 was that was her one chance not to kill the wife. But in this one, he specifically told her to kill her. So that's why she had the shocked look on her face in this one. Do you see what I mean about the character assassination? It makes zero sense, but whatever. $7 production.
I mean, I agree because the fact that it had to add her in to the death of the baby scene, I thought was a little much.
Thank you. Yeah, like you had to.
And all of a sudden, he was there. You know, she was there. She was.
They had to figure. Like when they did that, I was like, oh wow, they put that together. That was interesting.
And shout out to Skinamax for, even though the door, her stomach was smaller than the width of her feet. Her feet could have stopped that door at any point. She was like 2 weeks pregnant, but she lost the baby. Shout out to her. Condolences. Now, Chris already brought up the machinist, but I'd like to bring somebody else up who we didn't even really talk about it. Now, where is it? I can't see. Oh yeah, there he is. It's William. William, sir, how are you doing? As Chris pointed out earlier, somebody called him on it. Oh, you're P-whipped. Anything for these females. The woman didn't have a family. You knew that, William. Oh, man. But the machinist took care of him after he got 3 of those shackles off. Shout out to that. Now, last but not least.
That was a gruesome death, too. I mean, his insides just.
Yeah, they just started melting away.
Yeah.
You know, they just started melting away. Shout out to his mom, who was absolutely useless throughout that entire movie. Now, this is me watching this movie, but this is also John Kramer. And just as he's waiting for it to all end, so am I.
Oh God, I gotta stop.
But every time he plays another record or he makes a record, he becomes this guy. He's so happy to be alive and kicking, but he seems to know everybody's secret.
And pictures.
Saw 3, I called him Santa Claus.
And pictures. Everybody stands outside the car.
Yeah.
And,
It's something I call him Santa Claus because he knows if you're naughty or not. Okay. But in this one, he became this character right here. It's Cillian Murphy, the judge from The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. Because no matter what, it's death by something. Okay. If you're innocent, it's death by something. If you're guilty, it's death by something. It's death by tape recorder. It's death by sequel. It's death by $7 production. It's death by Skinamax. Shout out to Hoffman, though, who thought about it. He says, I'm going to put my mouth in this jar. And even though the trap doesn't open, half my jar has to be ripped open because it's called snuff. So
I never understood that.
Yeah, that's my recasted, the judge, who I thought was the best one out of everybody because no matter what you did, even if it was going in front of him in a line at Costco, it's death.
Yeah, that is what he does. All right, let's get into final thoughts real quick. I'm going to go first because, I picked it. So I'm going to say it's a thumbs up for me. This was actually my 4th favorite Saw movie so far. And sometimes it might be number 3, depending on how I feel about Saw 3 at the time. But lately, it's been a solid number 4 for me. Vic, on you.
I'll give it a thumbs up. I feel like it should end here. I'm curious to see what Saw 3D is about. I thought it was the end, but okay, there's more. But it was a thumbs up because it was a good ride. Like I enjoyed it. I literally, really, really did.
Ladies and gentlemen, early in the show, I gave compliments to my co-host. Now I have to revoke that. But I will give a shout out to Ron, who couldn't be here tonight. I don't know why. But a couple of episodes ago, nothing to do with Saw, he says that even he could make a movie. And I chided him and I said, that's very arrogant. Why would you think that you can make a movie? Ron, wherever you are, let me be the first to say you're absolutely correct. You could make a movie. And this is what it would be. Saw 6. Okay. Saw 6. I'll produce it. And we can make Saw 3D. Vic, you asked what it's about. It's about money. Because there's somebody who's going to watch that movie. It's going to be you wearing glasses that are overcharged and too small for a person's head, watching a movie where they do the same thing in this one, and it pops out in your face. They did that in the 80s. They did it in the 90s. They're doing it in the 2000s, and they're going to do it in the 20s, okay?
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
Saw 7 was actually supposed to be 2 movies. It's supposed to be Saw 7 and 8, but Saw 6 did not make that much money, so they decided to throw everything into Saw 7.
I thought they threw everything in the Saw 6. But anyway, what do I give this movie? I give it a 2. Chris said this was his 4th one. I give it my number 2, but not for the reason you think. It was pure shite. And that's my thumbs down rating of this movie. It was trash.
Ladies and gentlemen, join us this Thursday as we review. It's our last of the Jim Carrey movies as we review. What is this? The Eternal Sunshine of a
Spotless Mind.
I think it's what it's called. Yeah, as well as Fun with Dick and Jane. So Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Fun with Dick and Jane. And next Tuesday we'll be back with another Saw movie, which will be Saw 7, Saw 3D. Looking forward to that one. Looking forward to Jim Carrey movies as well.
I will want to be in Saw 2. Sorry, Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching us for Vic for the $7 production. I am the executive consultant. We'll see you right here next time on Popular Review. Charmaine, I appreciate you, but I don't understand why you think somebody will want to be in a Saw movie. Doesn't make sense. You're going to